Welcome back to Fox and Robyn Recording. Do you ever wonder when a mix is finished or how to know when it's finished? Let's take a look. Like I said, we're going to talk about how to know when a mix is finished. Like, how do I know it's finished? And I get that question a lot. Justin, how do you know if the song is done? Is it ready to send? How do you know these things? In my mind is when the mix translates outside of the studio. When I can take it from these speakers behind me, the space that I'm in, you can take it outside to your truck, your car, your iPhone, your headphones, your earpods, all those things. You can take it to that and it sounds good pretty much on all those platforms, then I know it's good. And you might be wondering, okay, Justin, so what does that mean? What does translation even mean? So translation is you can hear kind of all of the instruments. So translating is like you might be playing on a big set of speakers and you might play it on a small set of speakers, and the difference between the two isn't like ginormous. It's not like, oh, everything disappeared. It's like, oh, I still hear all the instruments. It's not the same fidelity, but I still hear all the instruments. So that's kind of translation, and that's my goal when I'm mixing is how to get the mix here to sound good here and in my truck, on my phone, and my AirPods, and all these different systems that I listen to music on. And the clubs, you got the club mixes out there. So that's when I know a mix is done. When I can sit back and listen on a tiny pair of speakers. I've got some throughout the studio here. I actually have an old radio that sits in the corner. On that little system, I can play it back and I can hear the kick drum. I can hear, I can hear all the cymbals, and I can hear the guitar parts, and I can hear the bass parts and the vocals, and everything's balanced in a liking, because a lot of it is taste. But the majority of the time, I'm looking to see if those instruments are poking out the way that they need to, or that they're setting back in the mix the way that they did in the big speakers. It's not going to sound the same, and there's times where I mix stuff and I'm like, oh, it sounds great on the big speakers, and I listen on little speakers and I'm like, ooh, that actually sounds really good, and then I go back to the big speakers and I realize, oh, the big speakers are missing a lot of high-end information. Maybe I'll add a little bit of high-end boost in my EQ on the master bus to give me a little bit more of that top-end sparkle that I hear when I'm listening on smaller speakers. Now, there are times when I have that in the big speakers and I go to smaller speakers and it's too much sizzle. So you have to kind of balance some of these tonalities a little bit, but that's the job. Mixing is a balance. When I finally get the balance set to where it sounds good on 3 or 4 different sets of speakers, that's when I know I'm done. It's ready to go out the door, and people are going to be happy hearing it on their earbuds. The translation also is something that kind of goes along with volume, and that's like, is the total mix loud enough? Does it change from speaker to speaker? That's one thing you do want to check when you're looking at translation for speakers, and that's what I look for in a mix. That's how I get my mixes to sound the way that I get them to sound, to get them to translate on multiple speakers. So when I send it to somebody and they listen to it on whatever little system they have at home or big system they have at home, that they're not like, oh, it sounds like garbage. Like, what's happening? It sounds great in the studio, but then I get home and it sounds like garbage. So that's kind of translation, and you kind of sometimes have to play with that a little bit. It's not an exact science. It's pretty close, but it's not an exact science on how to get there. We use lots of things for translation. AirPods, I have a pair of AirPods I'll put in. I've got my iPhone. I've got the Mac Mini speaker. My Mac Mini speaker is not a great speaker. Mac Mini does not have a great speaker, but it is great for checking translation. So I'll throw it on that before I send it out. And if it sounds pretty good on the Mac Mini speaker, I'm done. I'm like, this is good. Out the door it goes. You can also use pieces of software like Mix Checker from Audified, I think is the company. The plugin is called Mix Checker, so you can go find that out there. Might be in Lander now, but anyways, Mix Checker is a good plugin. If you have SonarWorks, Sound ID SonarWorks, they've got a translation section in their newest update, I believe, which is very, very handy to have. You might have to pay a little extra to get it, but It is part of their software where it'll kind of emulate a couple different speakers, which is great for checking them. Like if you don't have access to a lot of speakers, that's a good way. Your car, I check in my truck. My truck has a 5.1 surround sound system in it. It's a big sub, everything. I check there for boominess. Headphones, I have a pair of headphones I check in. So those are kind of some of the areas that you can, or some of the things you can use to check your mixes for translation. And I highly recommend doing that often. So it's like having a reference check. Check your mixes on multiple things as much as you can. And that's kind of how I know a mix is done. Now, you might be wondering, Justin, can I send you a mix to mix for me? You absolutely can. You could do it through our website at foxandrobynrec.com. Just send us email through there and we'll get it all set up to where you can send us your tracks to mix. You can also, if you're local, you can come to the studio and bring tracks on a hard drive. But you can check us out at foxandrobynrec.com. Go there, check out our website, book time with us. You can come book time, come in the studio, check us out, record some songs, mix some songs, whatever you might need. If you're an artist and you're wanting to mix yourself, you can do that here as well. We do offer that. I still hang out because I like to meet people. It's all about relationships. That's what this industry is mostly about. A lot of people don't say that, but that's what it's about. And you can come mix here. Just go to foxandrobynrec.com. And also, if you haven't, a lot of people haven't done this. We get a lot of people who watch but not subscribe. So feel free to hit the like and subscribe button on our videos. Go make some music. And in case I missed you, good morning, good evening, and good night. We'll see you next time.